Republican leaders in the United States Congress are struggling to advance President Donald Trump's massive funding bill. The legislation has come back before the House of Representatives after narrowly passing the Senate. But some members of the president's own party object to the trillions of dollars it will add to the national debt. The tax and immigration bill will see an extension of the president's 2017 tax cuts, increase state and local tax deductions, while restricting access to the National Healthcare Program. Well, I'm joined in the studio now by Jared Mondschein. He's the Director of Research at the US Study Centre. Thank you very much for coming in. There's been so much focus on this legislation. The President has, of course, described it as this big, beautiful bill. Just explain for us, first of all, what's actually in it? What is this all about?
Well, the number one thing that he wanted in it, and that's in it, is the extension of the tax cuts. So let's not forget, when he was first in office in 2017, his only legislative priority were those tax cuts. So major cuts in the corporate tax in particular. What happened is they sunset, right? So after a number of years, the way to balance that legislation in 2017, they said these tax cuts will expire. So this legislation is an extension of those tax cuts, but also to afford them, they are cutting other areas, including most notably the social safety net, so Medicare and Medicaid. They are increasing the requirements for being on them, which many expect, including nonpartisan bodies like the Congressional Budget Office, expect to have a significant impact on millions of Americans.
This legislation narrowly passed the Senate. It's back before the House. How likely do you think it is that it will get through Congress?
Well, to be honest, it seems like the number one obstacle to passing was the fact that not enough Republicans were in town. The deadline for passing this is a self-imposed deadline. They have some time. So Donald Trump famously said that he wanted to pass it by the 4th of July, U.S. Independence Day, but it very well may not pass by then. And he's already made news that it may not pass by then. So I think time is on their side. I think it's really important to note that this is not one of many legislative priorities for Donald Trump. This is the one big, beautiful bill. This is the only legislative priority. So I don't think Republicans really want to vote against it, but it's probably in their political self-interest to be seen, to be pained to be voting for it.
Just explain, why is that?
Well, we should remember how U.S. Elections work. You have your elections in November in the midterms, right? But before then, you have the primaries. That's when you have to win your party's nomination for to run against the Democrat, right? And what we're seeing now is that because of the way Congress works, it has been so gerrymandered that there actually aren't that many competitive races in the House of Representatives. Less than a third of races are actually competitive. So actually the biggest concern for a lot of Republicans is not the general election in November, but the primary race. And that is where Donald Trump has been very clear that he will primary folks or support primary opponents to Republicans who do not fall in line.
Given how much is in this bill, how much importance Donald Trump has placed on it, how important is it for him politically that this gets through? How politically significant is this for the president?
I think it couldn't be more significant in many ways because, like I said, there is no other legislative priority. If you look at the rest of the first Trump administration, the Republican Speaker of the House or prior one, John Boehner, famously said that if President Trump wanted to pass a ham sandwich, the Republicans would have signed it as well because there's nothing else. That is the only priority. Donald Trump is not particularly interested in policy too much, but this passing is, he sees, I think, as a legacy of his first administration and something that will continue long after this administration too.
And where have the Democrats been in all of this? How has this been playing out for them politically?
That's a great question because if there's anything we've seen juxtaposed to the first Trump administration is the Democrats once again in disarray. In the first Trump administration, after that election, he lost the popular vote but won the Electoral College. And there were a lot of Democrats saying it wasn't a real win and it was just a mistake. Him winning a second time is undeniable, and he won the popular vote as well. So the Democrats since November 2024 have not really had any clear pathway for how they want to oppose him. But opposing this bill is something that I think they are all on side for. No Democrats in the Senate and no Democrats in the House of Representatives are expected to vote for this legislation whatsoever.
This legislation famously prompted the very public falling out between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, the world's richest person. What do you make of how that has unfolded, and how do you see that playing out from here?
Well, I think both men are not known for having a long-term stable relations with a lot of their friends and colleagues. But I think what is made clear to me is just how much more powerful Donald Trump is than Elon Musk. Just a few years ago, I would have said, or even a year ago, or 6 months ago, I would have said that there was only one person who was close to as popular as Donald Trump in the conservative ecosystem, echo chamber sometimes, and that would be Elon Musk. He could never run for president because he wasn't born in America, but he still was very popular. Him distancing himself like this from Donald Trump, in my view, has shown that Republicans, especially in Congress, are a lot less scared of him than they are President Trump. No one has really aligned themselves with Elon Musk. I think Republicans have said that they hope that that Elon Musk and Donald Trump get along again and they can be friends again, but they are nowhere near as afraid of Elon Musk as they are actually the president.
We'll see how it all goes from here. Jared Mondschein, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.